Figured I'd, as usual, kind of just do a little bit of a prep video as I'm getting ready to go out and do a photo shoot again today and kind of talk about my process and clean up some tools and show you what I'm doing. And, there's just a lot to talk about today, so I figured it'd be fun to go live and do all that. So, first thing I'm doing is I am popping these protective filters off the GoPro Max. And this GoPro is a very special GoPro for me because it is a 360-degree camera and it fits, well, I'll use this as an example. It actually fits on top of my main camera like this, so when I'm doing a photo shoot, not only do I get my pictures, but I also have full video, and I've got 360-degree video of everything going on. So it makes for cool like B-grade photos and video, as well as makes for great content creation stuff. Because basically I've already got it shot, I've already got the photo shot, makes it super fast and easy to put things together. And then it also is stabilized. If I flip it to do portrait mode, it can still function like normal. So I'm going to clean it up and get it ready. We're going to a rodeo tonight. So hopefully that goes well and I can get some good pictures. We're going to brush some dirt off of it and just clean all the lens and stuff. It's been a little bit since I've done that and get prepared for tonight's shooting. Tonight we're going to be using two different lenses. Maybe three. Two for sure, maybe a third one, I'm not sure on. We're going to be using the 150 to 600 millimeter Sigma lens, which is this big boy right here. So it takes up the whole camera length, and that's not even extended. If I want to extend it out, take the lock off, it goes all the way up. So this is a absolutely wonderful lens that I love using, especially if I'm going to be, in the stands or far away. It lets me get some still close-up photos, even if I'm 40, 50, 60 feet away from where we're trying to be. So I love that lens. And then we're going to use the 24 to 105 L USM lens from Canon as well as kind of a general. The third surprise lens that we might bring out is the Nifty 50 that I just got for a different photo shoot. It's kind of just a great all-around, all-purpose lens. There's no wrong time to use a Nifty 50, I don't think. It's such a versatile lens that can do so much good stuff. So right now we're just cleaning up all the dirt, dust, and grime off all the lenses to prepare for tonight's shoot, because I just did other photo shoots. I've got a whole bunch planned potentially for this weekend. There's so much going on. There's a rodeo, there's monster trucks, there's a balloon festival, there's Black Dahlia Flower Festival. Like, there is so much that might be going on this weekend, so a lot of good photos to come. But I did want to talk about what happened last night, because I went and did some photo work last night. I actually got sold some stuff, which was surprising. I've not made a whole lot of sales as of yet, so it was really, really reassuring to actually make a few sales. Uh, so I went to this festival that was it's like a farmer's market. It's called Last Thursday. There's a farmer's market, and kind of any vendor can come out and sell or work their goods. So like there was a clown there, pitching their services. There's people who sell resin art. There was a person who wrote a book, selling their books. So really, everyone's welcome to just come and do as they please. So I signed up to take some photos to, distribute to people, so they have something to give out for like advertisements, as well as I was using my device that turns photos into instant film kind of Polaroids, kind of as a unique thing for, hey, you're walking around, take a picture with your kids, take a picture with your dog, whoever it may be, and get kind of a cool physical memento of that moment. And I was really excited to actually make a few sales with that, 'cause that machine has not been popular, and I was really excited to get to use it, so that was really good. But as I was walking around, I noticed a few different people that I thought would be interested in having some, shots of their kids, because there was the kids playing, and parents love their children, obviously, so they want to capture that moment. And I saw this one guy hanging out by a tree, with his daughter, And I asked him if he would be interested in that. And I could tell right away, he was interested. Um, he very clearly was interested in it, but he was honest with me. And he was just, straight up, it's not something I can afford right now. And this machine doesn't cost very much money to run. A pack of film runs about $20, so I sell each one of my films for about $5. Takes care of operating costs and a few other things. So I know it's not like I was giving out anything for free that was like super expensive. I know when you hear stories like this, people are like, oh, well, I gave them $1,000 item for free. So yeah, it's nothing like that. It was $5. So I said, you know what? Then let me give it to you for free, because why not? Why not be a good person? You obviously want it. This is a great moment for you and your child. I can do it. It's not going to bankrupt me. So why not? Why not do the nice, kind, charitable thing? And that's where things kind of just went way up and beyond that I ever thought they would. And it's sorry, I'm struggling to find the words to properly convey this, because every day, every single day, I think this week at least, but at least weekly, I complain about how selfish people are. How if you see someone hold a door open for someone else, you're genuinely shocked. You're like, wow, there's actually some nice people still left out there in this world. It's genuinely shocking. So when other people are nice, you're like, oh, that actually happened. So I gave this guy his photo, and while we were talking, another person came up who was also a photographer, and they were just like, hey, I saw your daughter playing over here. I thought she was super adorable, so I hope you don't mind. I took some photos. I would like to give you those photos for free. I'd like to send them to your email so that you can have, this moment captured. And then on top of that, the clown I mentioned earlier, who was giving her services, she was doing magic. I think her significant other or other person there was doing magic. They were playing bubbles. They had balloon animals. Came over and did a whole bunch of stuff for free with his daughter as well. And it turned into this thing. Was like, one nice act begets another, and that was such an incredible thing to experience in the moment. And I know this is going to sound dramatic, and I know I have a flair for the dramatic, so I already know, and I apologize, but I truly felt in the presence of God, in the presence of the Holy Spirit, that everything came together in that moment to be such a memorable moment for that man. And it made me think of so many different things I really wanted to talk about. Number one, just being that, like, it's so strange, because it's no big deal to me, right? Again, it was a $5. It was no big deal. It's just a little bit of money. But for that man, like, his whole day was made, and I don't think he'll forget that day anytime soon, right? And it's amazing that the little things that we do, the little pictures we take, the little kind gestures that we offer to people, it means nothing to us, but to those people, it can mean a world of difference. It can be truly something that they remember the rest of their life. And it's such an amazing thing how powerful it can be for something that's just so small and insignificant to other people. But then the other thing that it got me thinking on was how quickly we as humans just, like, either forget, ignore, or move past the majesty that is God, right? Like, as I just said, that I truly believe that was the Holy Spirit descending upon people and creating this just absolutely perfect moment. And if I truly believe that, which I do, you would think that having this experience with God would make me a much more pious person. It would, I would quit my job and go to the monkhood. I would, dedicate the rest of my life to God, which I am. I'm Catholic. I want to dedicate my life to God. But if it was truly that impactful, then why, 20 minutes later, did I buy a lottery ticket thinking, hey, maybe I'll get rewarded for my good deed today? Like, I instantly tarnished a good deed and a good thing that I wanted to do for someone and made it about me. And, like, that's such a human thing to do, right? Like, that is the most human thing to do. I said, I had this experience with God. This is wonderful. This is beautiful. And within 20 minutes, I'm thinking about myself. I'm saying, you know what? Why am I not getting rewarded? Where is mine? And it puts into perspective sin, and it puts into perspective how fallible we are as humans and how quickly we fall into temptations and other things. And I never realized how, just like how often sin crops up until I became Catholic, and it became like a daily thing. And even little things like, oh, you can't lie. Lying is a sin. Oh, I don't lie that much. Oh, turns out you lie a lot in the day, right? And you have thoughts you shouldn't have all day long. And it's amazing how much we forget. Like every single day is a battle. Every single day there's temptation. Every single day we're fighting the enemy. And it comes back to this idea of spiritual warfare that people talk about in like this general sense of, oh, we're fighting a spiritual battle. So, pick up your rosary and pray. It's spiritual battle, and that's all, and then we move on from it. But there's so much more to it. Can you shout out my cousin, Boosted Benny? He passed away last week. I'm definitely sorry to hear that. I'll definitely pray for your cousin. I'm truly sorry for your loss and what you're going through. I know that must be difficult. And I know, internet strangers saying they're sorry doesn't mean a whole lot, but I can definitely pray for your cousin. And see, that's exactly what we should be doing, right? Someone comes in and asks for prayer, and we should do prayers for them. We should help people in these spiritual battles, and yet within 10 seconds the real world comes back at us, right? We're instantly thinking about ourselves again. We're instantly thinking about us, me, what does it do? And it's just, you want to be better, but it's so hard, right? Like you don't realize how hard it is to avoid temptations and sins and everything until you're out there fighting it every single day. And it wears on you, right? That's why you need to pray. That's why you need the rosary every day. That's why you need God every day. That's why you need Jesus every day, right? Because the battle isn't won after one fight. The battle isn't won after two fights, after a week, after a month, after a year. It's your entire life nonstop fighting, and that sounds exhausting to say, let alone to actually do battle with, right? So again, I know I might be dramatic. I know some people might hear like, "Oh, you gave a free picture to someone." That's not an experience with God, but to see so many people come together and make someone's day so much better. I like I said, I truly believe that was the Holy Spirit descending upon people with a spirit of kindness, because I think people also forget, and this is just the other thing I wanted to talk on, because it's something that's so easy to forget, but it's such a simple concept, right? Like, God is a God of love. God is a God of justice. Jesus is love. That you hear that all the time. And so when people ask me like, well, what would you need to see? What would if God was to prove himself to you, what act would God need to do for you to believe in God? And a lot of people say something powerful, something big, right? Like I would want God to summon an elephant. If God summoned an elephant out of thin air, then I would truly know that we're dealing with God, because only God could do something that great. Or God could destroy a mountain, something so huge. But God is a God of love. So if God is a God of love, wouldn't we want to see a grand act of love like what I'm describing? Could that not be an awesome power of God, to have humans just love each other? And I know that sounds, and there's some, traditionalists and people like, oh, don't bring that hippy dippy stuff here. But I mean, it's true. God is love. And if we truly believe what we truly believe, and I know I say that like 1,000 times a day, but if we truly believe God is love, then wouldn't God's power be love? Wouldn't we see great acts of love as a great act of God and an intervention from Jesus, from the Holy Spirit, from the Holy Father? Like, don't destroy a mountain. Show me people loving each other. And that's what I saw. And that's why, and again, it moved me. And within a day, I've forgotten about it. And I was out, sinning. I was out doing and thinking things I shouldn't. I was, there's been a lot of struggles at work lately. A lot of problems with my job as things have changed, and I've been very, very struggling with depression and woe is me, and why do I have the bad job, and why does this happen to me? And this is one day later, and I'm already just focused on me and when am I going to get what I want? When are things going to go my way? When are things going to be for me? But it's, how could I lose sight of that? I literally just had this wonderful, profound, loving experience, and within within a day, all I can think about is me, me, me. And it's amazing how many times we fail in a minute, in a day, in a week, in a lifetime. And what's more amazing is how many times God forgives us for that, right? Like, you hear it in the Bible, you hear God will forgive you however many times you need, but you don't realize how many times you need that forgiveness, unless you're Catholic. Catholic guilt is a real thing, right? We're at confession at least once a week, confessing to our sins, and there's other confessions and things of that nature. So we have a little bit of advantage on the Catholic guilt of understanding how much we mess up, but it's truly astounding how many times we need to be forgiven, because no matter how many times we go to church, no matter how many times we hear these lessons, no matter how many times people remind us of these things, we just think about me. Think about me. Where's mine? When am I going to get mine? What's gonna be best for me? And it's just so easy to forget, and it makes me sad, right? Not sad because like, oh, I'm such a failure, but sad that like I failed God, right? I failed my creator. I failed the one who made all this possible, who gives me everything every single day. And I'm out here failing and failing and failing, right? Like, it's hard, but every day we can do a little bit better, right? So I've been trying to do the surrender novena a little bit more. Surrendering everything over to Jesus and letting his will be done. And whatever it may be, I'm not going to worry about it, because whatever happens is God's will to happen, right? Therefore, why worry about it? Why stress about it? I'll just surrender it on up to Jesus and let Jesus handle it. And that's very hard. That is very hard. I've made it to about day 5 of the novena, and then something happens and I forget about it. And I try and start again, and then I forget about it. And I need to finish that. It's only a 14-day novena. It's what, a 2 weeks? It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks should not be hard, considering doing the rosary every single day or other things like that, and yet somehow offering it up and surrendering it all to God is this impossible task when it's literally what He asks of us, right? Like, it shouldn't be this monumental task, and yet every day it feels that way. So I know that was a little bit of a long, rambling story, but that's just definitely what I wanted to talk about today. It was such a great experience, and I'm ashamed of myself that within a day I've forgotten about how wonderful it made me feel, and everything that it made me feel and experience, and how it reinvigorated me and wanted me to do more to help people, more to give back to mankind, more to love my fellow neighbor. And then within a day, it's okay, but what about me? What about number one? I know it's going to be a lifelong struggle. I know it's something that everyone struggles with, religious or not. I know that's something that everyone struggles with. That's what makes marriage really hard, right? Is that you want to do, what about me? What about me? What about me? But when you're sharing your life with someone else, you can't say, what about me? It's got to be, what about us? What about us? And that's a big change. And if you spent 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years alone, or asking, what about me? Then all of a sudden having to switch that to, well, what about us? That's a huge and hard change, and I don't blame people for struggling with that, right? That's so incredibly difficult. I do see you guys joining in the comments. Thank you so much, everyone coming in. I didn't want to break my flow from my story, so I appreciate you guys hanging out while we were doing that. So I promised you guys to talk a little bit about the gear before we go. So I already showed you the big lens we're going to use. So here's the secondary lens for tonight. Comes in a nice little carrying case, because it's extra. This is the Canon 24-105 weatherproofed L lens with a 4 aperture, locked in at 4. No matter if you're 24, if you go all the way up to 105, it is 4 aperture with the lens hood mounted on it. It's hard. I want to say this is my favorite lens, but the huge lens, the 600 millimeter, I love, because I love to get photos of like squirrels and birds, and I love to go out and do things like that. But this lens is so incredible for everything that's not that. If the target is within 15 to 20 feet or less, this lens is the king of it. So between those two lenses, I have everything covered. Though honestly, I'm thinking about maybe changing this lens out for the 800 millimeter prime. It's got an 11 aperture, which is really high, but I just learned something. So, professional photographers still learning. We all still learn, right? No one knows everything. So, word of caution or word of advice, or just something good to know for y'all out there who might not know it. When you stick a EF or EFS lens on a RF, so basically a non-full frame on a full frame, it automatically goes into crop mode, and you do not maintain your megapixels for that, right? So my R6 is a 20 megapixel camera. When I put a lens on it that forces it into crop mode, I then get about 7 or 8 megapixels. So I'm really disappointed in that loss of megapixels. And as much as I love this lens and have used it a lot, I think I might have to switch to an RF lens just so I'm not getting that crop mode, that I'm not losing all the megapixels, especially because my main focus is low light shooting, and well, both of those lenses will be terrible in low light as it is, but that's my next potential purchase or thought, is trading it out for that. Or there's one other potential purchase on the horizon. Let me make sure I got all my gear packed away for tonight. Again, we're going to a rodeo, so we're going to get some awesome, hopefully, pictures of cowboys and wrangling and bucking broncos and all that. But let me show you something else really quick here. It gets heavier and heavier every time I try and lift it. We have the DJI Mini Pro 3. And this thing is absolutely incredible. For photography, I've already done a few drone jobs actually with this drone. It's got like a 30-minute flight time, beautiful 45 megapixel camera. The steadiness on it and the videos it takes are absolutely phenomenal. It is my favorite drone by far. I have the DJI FPV as well, which I use for 360-degree photos with the GoPro that you saw, for kind of a different kind of drone photography. But DJI just announced a new drone, a new FPV drone that is the Avata, I think is what it's called. It's very small. It's got built-in guards, but it's looking very interesting. It's got a turtle mode, so if you crash, it'll flip itself back up and you can keep flying. It's got built-in propeller guards, which is super important if you're going to be flying around people. If you take your Part 107 license, you'll learn that you can't fly over certain crowds of people if there's a certain amount of force built into it, as well as a certain amount of risk of lacerations from unguarded propellers. So having that built into it is a really cool function for making it safe around people. And I think it's about half the size of this, so it's even more miniature, which is going to make it incredible for things that things you shouldn't do but might be fun to do. Flying through abandoned buildings, flying through car windows. That's something they show in their ads for it, is flying through car windows because it's small enough and sleek enough they can just zoom on through. So there's going to be some interesting things that drone can do that my current two drones cannot. And not that I need more drones, because as you can see, I've got two and I've got the other camera equipment. It's really fun to play with. And they really hit it home with this. Their new controller has a built-in screen. In fact, while we're here, let's clean that screen up a little bit because it's dusty and full of fingerprints. We can see built-in screen. So rather than the old-style drones that hook to your phone and you have to have a cord for it and plug it in and wait for the app to load and all that, this screen is just dedicated to that app and dedicated to that purpose. So not only does it have the full controls to make it easier than a phone, but it's got a screen built into, and that is the coolest and best feature I have seen so far on the next generation of drone controllers. So I highly, highly recommend this. I honestly I won't fly a drone without something like this or the FPV, because using my phone again, it's too clunky. The controls aren't fine tuned, and it's awkward to have to bring around the controller and lock it in and then hold both, and it does not work. And this works. So if you're thinking about getting into drones, the DJI Mini Pro 3 is just an absolute beaut if you want to do photography, videography. It's got a lot of safety features built into it, so you're not going to just crash into things and lose your drone. The Avata might be a good entry level as well. That's what people are saying so far. I didn't get a review copy, unfortunately, because I'm not up to snuff yet on being a drone creator of that level, but I hope to be someday. So if you're out there, DJI, I'd love to test some of your products. But it's got a lot of safety features built into it, and it's not quite as destructible. The guy I was watching on YouTube was smashing his drone repeatedly into things, and it was still flying. Like, that thing was built tough. And if you know anything about drones, you fear the crash, because one crash or two crashes and you're replacing parts. So the fact that it survived multiple crashes in a row was something just absolutely impressive about that drone. So I'm hoping to maybe get that one this year and do a review on it and do some stuff, like I said, that this drone cannot do. I really want to do more drone content. I have absolutely fallen in love with drone photography. There's something, you know, not to say every photo has been taken in the world, right? There are lots of photographers out there, lots of people who have unique perspective. People still make staged photos and do incredible things with photography. But drone photography opens up like a whole world of photos that weren't before possible without, like, if you wanted to get a shot of the horizon, you had to rent a helicopter and, fly up above. And now you can just walk out in your backyard, throw a drone up, and then have a 400-foot shot from the sky. Like, the things that drones are offering from photography to do different perspectives, different things with light. It's a whole new world of possibility, and it just really excites me. So I want to do more drone photography, um, because that's just, we have a whole world of possibilities that's never been available to us before, and it's so cool, and it's only going to get better, right? Like, some people, I'm very bad about this, so I know there's some other people out there who do this as well. If you're one of those people, I apologize. I know it's frustrating, where you feel like if you're not the first one in, you're already too late to join a trend, right? So you didn't get the first generation of drones, so now there's no point in buying a drone because you're already so far behind. Or, you didn't start playing a game on a release and now you're too far behind and you can't start playing the game. I'm one of those people, and I didn't get in the first generation of drones or the second generation of drones, but it was worth jumping in. They're only going to get better. There's only going to be better things from here. So you haven't missed a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, right? Technology changes fast, so I think you're still going to be really impressed if you join into the drones now. And I highly recommend DJI. Their drones have been nothing but impressive. I've had no issues with their drones. I did have a Mini Pro, or just a Mini, the original DJI Mini. That was my first drone. I ended up giving to my father to play with because I upgraded to this one. But they're solid. They're great. They're just, I can't say a single bad thing about them. They are wonderful drones. So I think that's it. I think we're packed up. We got the GoPro. We got the 2 camera lenses, or maybe the third one. We got the professional camera set up. I think we're ready to do this rodeo and do a little bit of photography tonight. So stay tuned. I definitely will get some pictures up from tonight, maybe some video. I'm really hoping maybe to go into the fair afterwards and, do really, night photos of the Ferris wheels and all the bright lights. Those are incredible. I love those photos. I love the low light photography. I love neon lights in the middle of the night. That's my whole vibe and aesthetic. So I really hope to capture that tonight. So stay tuned for more of that. Thank you again, everyone, for joining me today. We'll see you next time.